Yay. You got the one I sent you, right?
Sent me a few, but I didn't.
Hey, Dawn,
Yes, ma'am.
whoever's taking attendance, there's 6 of us here.
Oh, you're with your mom?
Yeah, and Ryan and Cameron are here too.
Oh, okay. Cool. So last time we talked about prophets in general and how it started, and I said in the Bible we usually consider Elijah and Elisha at the beginning, though they're not writing prophets. I mean, you have Abraham, who is a prophet, Moses, who's clearly a prophet, but these are the more traditional roles. I mean, if you're going to zap a bunch of kids for calling you Baldy, that's a traditional prophet role. Kind of puts the fear of God in you, though. Don't yell Baldy at them.
Which prophet was it that said that something along the lines of all people are holy or something along those lines?
That bald people are holy.
Are holy, yeah. Or something along those lines. My dad quotes it regularly. I forget exactly what it is.
You want the maps?
I better find out, I guess.
Yeah, man. So we're in this time period because we're starting out with the Micah, Isaiah, and these guys. The Israel, this is the division of the kingdom. So Solomon dies, and the kingdom divides. Egypt is powerful. Over here is Assyria. That's Assyria. This is the Hittites. And over here is Babylon. And right now, Babylon's nothing. Assyria is the big period. This is the Assyrian period. We're about to go into the Neo-Assyrian period, which is the rise of their world empire. Every blue line is 10 years. So the Israel's north, they're the more powerful entity. And with Omri, we're the most powerful king the north has, which is here. Here's his name, Omri. And they continue. There's not much going on because this is where God starts preliminary judgment. He's warning them, straighten up. You know, this is what Elijah and Elisha are about. Then this is actually where the prophets that we're going to talk about are. So this is from 800 down. Okay. So this is 1200 to 800. So we get the end. This is where the Philistines come. Here's Saul, David, Solomon, the division of the kingdom, the various kings. Samuel's, he's up here. He's here, but he doesn't qualify as a king. Oh, yeah. He's right here. Because, I mean, he's with David and Saul. This is Samuel. And he dies in 1 Samuel, which is always ironic. Book's named after him, and he dies in like chapter 15. And he's got a whole nother book. So now we're going to jump down to this. So what we're coming up to is the end of the northern kingdom. Okay, that's what the 8th century prophets are about. And who are the 8th century prophets? They're Micah. If you take the name Micah, it spells out the 8th century prophets. Micah, Isaiah, Amos, Hosea. There is no C.
Just kidding.
Okay.
So we excuse me. This is all in prepping for this. Because the destruction of Israel, it was a big deal. It's not the destruction of Jerusalem, but it's a close second. And this judgment of God that includes destruction of his holy land was something they really didn't anticipate. In spite of the prophets telling them so. They just, things that make you go, and they weren't prepared for it, even though he warned them. And this changes everything. So the first prophet we're going to do is Amos. Amos is usually considered the earliest prophet. Now, the prophetic books follow a pattern. The opening verse or verses places him historically where he is in the reign of so and so in the north and reign of so and so in the south. So you can pinpoint him. So we'll look at Amos. See how this works.
Is there any rhyme or reason of how they were put in the Bible?
The 12 minor prophets are that's actually an assembled book. And it was done obviously after the last prophet, long after Amos is dead. But they assembled these things into the book of the 12, they call it. And in traditional Israelite counting, that's just one book. But it's 12 minor prophets. So in the minor prophets, it's not quite historical. I mean, it's not in chronological order. So you're kind of going, and frankly, I don't know what the order is. It's just going, what were you thinking? The major prophets, we do Isaiah, Jeremiah, Ezekiel, and that's chronological order. And Lamentations is usually attributed to Jeremiah. And in the Hebrew order, that's in the writings. That's in the miscellaneous category. But in the Christian Bible, it's usually associated with Jeremiah, and they put it right next. It's a logical thing. And that's because of the Greek Septuagint. Do you guys remember what the Septuagint is? It was originally Torah, but eventually the entire Bible. And in the Septuagint, Lamentations is associated with Jeremiah. About 250 BC is when it was done. Down in Egypt. And at that point, that's well after Alexander. That's in the Greek period of the ancient Near East. All right, so Amos. Not big enough. You guys can't read that. Is that big enough? It's better. At least you're honest. That one you can read. All right. Shauna. Why don't you read the ESV for me? Yes.
The words of Amos, who was among the shepherds of Tekoa, which he saw concerning Israel in the days of Uzziah, king of Judah, and in the days of Jeroboam, the son of
Joash.
Joash, king of Israel, 2 years before the earthquake.
So the earthquake, Israel is on a fault line. That's what makes the Jordan Valley. It's two tectonic plates are coming together there. And so they're prone to earthquakes. And they've had more than one. But this is apparently the earthquake. Kind of like the Ohio State University. It's just everybody knows which one we're talking about. And
2 years before that.
so let's find Uzziah. Well, there's Joash. There's Uzziah, also known as Azariah. So in the days of Uzziah and the days of Jeroboam, son of Joash. So the overlap, this is right around here. Oh, it's 790. Thereabouts. But he didn't become king by himself until 767. He's a co-regent before that. So the biggest turmoil in the ancient world was in the transition from one king to another. And so they explored various ways to handle that turmoil. And one of the ways was bring your successor to the throne early and let him rule with you, co-rule. And he can learn how to be a king. And he's already established when you do die. And that's what they've done here. It's just that Uzziah was a co-regent quite a while, 20 plus years, which I guess he didn't anticipate. But anyway, it's around 767. There's 760. That's blue line. So right in here. So this is what Amos, I don't have Amos on my chart, but this time period. So what's going on?
You have the earthquake on here?
Nope, because we don't know which earthquake it is. I mean, it's the earthquake,
Done.
but we don't know much about it.
Seems like it should be on there.
So nothing going on in Babylon. Assyria is just establishing itself, but they're about to go to their big boys. Tiglath-Pileser III is a big deal, and he's not far down the road. So here, and we're coming to him. This is where they really start expanding. Is under Tiglath-Pileser III and taking over the known world. So Tekoa is just a place where Uzziah is from. I mean, where Amos is from. Let's see if I can find it for us, because I like my maps. Maps are fine. There's Tekoa. So it's in Judah, and he's going to be prophesying to the north. That makes it problematic. They don't like that. Just saying. Yeah, no. Yeah. Stupid Judahite. Mind your own business.
He's on.
Anyway, so he's from Tekoa.
Video's off. What's that
What?
noise? Is it your phone? Sounds like a Portuguese number.
You're on, Rick.
We'll have to answer on.
Okay, so
Sorry, Don.
that's all right. Just glad you're here. And he saw concerning Israel 2 years before the earthquake. Now, at this time period, Israel is very powerful. It's quite wealthy. It's corrupt. And Israel and Judah are actually getting along fine. Well, a few times. I gotta go to the restroom. Be right back. Sorry. Gotta get old.
Probably doesn't need to be on the.
Gonna go up on the floor because I hate.
I'm glad whatever's on your phone is so engaging.
Are you addressing us?
No,
Oh,
He's feeling it.
Matt and Julie.
oh,
Okay. So around this time period, it's about the time of Homer. So Homer's in Greece writing his stuff around this time, usually around 800 BC. It's long before Confucius. Buddha is probably still in the future. The world's an interesting place. It's starting to become global, if you will. Egypt's a big deal, and it's there and it's about to be. Amos has a pretty simple message. Why are you oppressing the poor? And idolatry. Stop it. Oppressing the poor, stop the idolatry. Now, oppression of the poor is how do you define that? You know, taking advantage of position would be one. So if you're wealthy and you have royal connections, taking advantage of that. But do you think they have a problem with that in Assyria? Well, nobody likes injustice, but some of it is where you're poor. That's just the way it is. But our prophets expect different, which I find fascinating. They're thinking differently because that's what the Torah did. Remember, the Torah was informing us how to think since the fall had broken it. And Moses makes that very clear. This is your philosophy. It's obviously more than that, but this is how we think. This is the way our God works. And we are we're being brought into the family of God. And he wants us to think like he does. And he doesn't like oppression of the poor. Don't do that. I think of Bob Newhart. Stop. Great counseling, $5. Stop. Whatever it is you do, stop. It's a very funny bit. All right. Now, Amos, he's not a professional prophet. This is not how he makes his living. If we go to chapter 7, for example, Amos is talking. He's been blasted by a prophet. Who do you think you are? Trying to make your living being a prophet. And he goes, I'm no prophet, nor the son of a prophet. And here he's not talking about his father. He's saying, I'm not in training. I'm not a prophet, nor am I in prophet school. I was a herdsman and a dresser of sycamore trees. This is what I do. And the Lord grabbed me. So I'd go prophesy to my people Israel, which it's got to be disturbing. I'm just a sycamore. I grow figs. Leave me alone. Because this thing's going to cost him. Because he's going to end up traveling up to Israel. He's going to go visit the king. How he does that. God opens doors, I guess. But this would be disturbing. Julie, he raises figs.
Oh,
That's what that means.
sorry.
You're not doing anything. I was talking. You are being an example. I didn't get to finish. I know, and I happened to take a breath, and that was a mistake, apparently.
Or
So God's saying, Julie, leave your paints and go prophesy to Broken Arrow. I don't even live in Broken Arrow. I know. But this is what I want you to do. Except it'd probably be more like Muskogee, because you got to travel a little bit. Go prophesy to Muskogee. That's what's going on with Amos. And he's successful. You know, I'm apparently fairly well to do, and you want me to leave. What are you doing?
Yeah,
Probably.
it is.
What's going on?
Just trying to connect to our TV time state.
Can you?
I think we ignored it a little bit.
Well, come
Not a
on.
computer. It's a TV.
You guys can still see everything, right? I'm talking to Rick and Sally Ann.
Yes. Yeah, that looks great. It's blown up big enough I can read it.
We can see it. We can't hear anything that anybody in the room
Can
is
you guys
saying.
not hear me?
We can hear you, but we can't hear anybody else. It's okay. Don't worry about it. Just keep going.
It's been interesting every time. How are you calling him?
No, I'm not getting anything.
They were asking for an airplane passcode for Steve's item.
Don't give him our TV.
We can have our-
Okay, now I can't see anything.
Why don't you go prophesy to Muskogee? Can you guys hear me now?
We can hear you and we can see the display, so we're good, yeah.
Okay.
We can see your lovely face as well.
What?
They can see it because they're on Zoom.
Yes.
And we can-
Yes.
So everybody wins.
It's, yes. So back to whatever it is we're doing.
Prophesying to Muskogee.
That's it.
I didn't know sycamores made things.
That is weird.
Yeah, it's,
Must be a variety.
it's we don't use that terminology. We call them fig trees.
Because sycamore not. in the colors.
Where I'm from, sycamore's like an oak. It's a tree. And so it doesn't produce figs. So I don't know. It's for grins. No, he said the same thing.
Sycamore fig tree.
Well, they described it as took care of instead of dressing. So.
What's the Hebrew say?
What?
What does the Hebrew say since it's right there?
A herdsman I am, a gatherer of figs. I should say sycamore, because in Hebrew it's shikmim. Sounds like the word. Okay. Now, so Amos is dadgummit, is he's a big deal. And he starts out well, let's just look at it. Let's read one. Leave me alone.
It's the last Sunday of the month.
It's time to gather. It's 10 o'clock.
You ain't scared yet?
Then we'll stop here. Because we gotta go gather in the gathering place.
Right.
Did you see what I did?
That thing's far from here, but okay.
Right. It's the gather, eat donuts.
Where is that too?
Yes, so all these are gonna get transported. All right, so let's close. I'm glad you learned so much about Amos.
Sycamore.
Actually, I did learn something today. I did not know that he was a herdsman or a gatherer of pigs. That's interesting, and that he was from humble beginnings and.
No, he was actually kind of wealthy.
Oh, he was wealthy because of that? Because
Yeah.
I guess we're a currency around here.
Well, there are no sycamores around Toccoa. So if he's a grower of sycamore trees, he's got some land elsewhere. And so he's fairly well to do. So minded his own business. And God says, hey, go prophesy. Why? I was happy.
Also in my head, I didn't realize that he was the first, that he was probably the earliest of the.
Writing prophets.
Mhm.
All right, so we're going to close in prayer. Not Mac. The Oprah does in prayer. We're going to be nice. What?
You're very good.
I am. So Josh, would you close us in prayer, please?
Thank you.
Yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
Together around your word. Your new revelations and to see your word in a different light. Lord, we ask that you be with Pastor Daniel as he delivers his message today on thankfulness. Lord, may we take this as a time to really turn what we have back to praise to you, Lord. Because that's how. Well, your blessings, only blessings when they're turned back and thankfulness to you. Lord, we was so go together in community. Just saying.
Amen. So did you ever finish that sentence? Okay. All right, we'll see you guys next, I'll be here. Okay, so we're doing it again next week. Sorry for the choppy nature of today.